Hey everyone, Some Guy Rank Stuff here, and tonight I'm doing a really short tier list, I hope at least, about video game controllers. This is made by Zachary01405507 apparently. So thanks to him, or yeah, I guess it's him, it's Zachary of course, so it should be a boy's name. Just to give credit to him, I found this template on TierMaker, so well, this is mostly just seems like it's the first party controllers for different systems for Nintendo's, even Sega, Xbox, and PlayStation. So I won't speak too much about everyone, but I will tell my opinion on them either way. So the Switch Joy-Cons, of course, one of the latest additions to this, apparently this tier list. They're really cool, handy. You can use them in different ways. For motion controls, you can use both for many different games. You can even use one of them for some games, not all games in existence, but in many games. The thing is that if you do play two-player with these, you only have one joystick and not a D-pad, which is a little too bad. But also understand, it's easy to understand. And the same with if you use these two as a single controller, there's no D-pad at all, which is a lot more comfortable, in my opinion, anyway, to compared to other. Compared to this controller scheme, of course. So I rarely ever use the Joy-Cons when I play Nintendo Switch, but it does get the job done for the most part. There's a lot of drifting, of course, which is not good at all, but I think it's a really decent controller in many ways. The Xbox 360 is considered by many to be like one of the best controllers, and I think maybe I agree. They feel comfortable. The buttons are easily accessed. It's if it's not S, it's definitely on A. But if it's not A, it's definitely on S. It's somewhere between, maybe even not at the top. It's not my favorite controller, but it's one of the best ones out there, I think. The original Xbox controller, however, is really bad in comparison. I haven't really used one in a very long time, for at least, I guess I can say 20 years now. I'm not really sure just when it released, but I mean, it's huge. It was, of course, I was younger, close to 20 years younger, of course, and something just got a message or something. I'm not sure what. Sorry about that. Anyway, my hands were of course smaller back then, so maybe they do feel better now. But I know that I see it's on the list here. They came out with a simpler version later, which probably was a lot more comfortable. So I'll place it down here for now. It might be better now, but I haven't tried it in many years, so I can't tell really. The Super Nintendo controller, many people actually consider this to be one of the absolute best of all time. And of course, it gets the job done. Nintendo is my favorite company when it comes to video games, so I'm trying to put away some bias here. But the Super Nintendo controller I think is great. I even got one of these the 8-bit do SN30 controllers for my Switch when I bought Super Mario Maker 2, because I really needed like a simple controller to play a 2D platformer. So in many ways I feel it's a great controller. For its system, it's definitely probably as good as it could be at the time. But I don't think it's like one of the best. I think there are more comfortable controllers out there. I like having like real grips for my controller when I play games, rather than just keeping it in between my fingers like I do with the Super Nintendo one. So yeah, it's great, but it's not at the top. The PS4 controller was one that many people spoke highly about when it came out, and it was like, well, I guess they were better than the DualShocks that predated this controller, but I really don't find it that comfortable. To be honest, I think it's only a B for me. It works well, no doubt about that, but I think maybe the PS5 controller is the best one they've ever had over at Sony, I think. So, well, I haven't played much Sega, to be honest. I think this is kind of like. I've tried the Genesis controller more. I think it has a cool. Well, I guess this is Saturn. I think maybe it's a Sega Saturn controller. I don't think I've ever tried this one, so I'll just place it here. But I have tried the Genesis one. I think it's cool looking at least, but I'm not sure if I like it better than the Super Nintendo. But I don't have as much experience with it as I should maybe to be talking so much about it, so I'll just leave it there. The Wii U gamepad is not my preferred controller when it comes to the Wii U, and I realize now that the Pro controller isn't here, even though the Switch one is here, which is disappointing because I think the Wii U Pro controller is really comfortable, feels really good. Playing shooting games with that controller felt great. I remember playing Call of Duty Black Ops 2 with a couple of friends, and it worked so well. But the gamepad, despite being this huge, it's really comfortable to hold. It works well. The screen is, well, it's great for many different things. But it's kind of like the Joy-Con in the sense that it's not my go-to controller. If I can use the Pro controller for a game on Wii U, I'd rather choose that one. But it has motion and everything, so it's kind of like the Joy-Con. It's multifunctional. It has many cool features, but it's not my go-to controller, so I'll just put it here, I think. So I see we have both the original PlayStation controller and the DualShock for the PS1. I've been trying this controller again for the first time in a while because I got the PS1 Classic thing, and it's not that comfortable. I think it's not too different with the DualShock, but I definitely think it's a better controller. And I think it's tough. They didn't change much, but I always kind of preferred this controller compared to the PS4 or these three controllers. But I did prefer them to the PS4, but I think they feel a bit too small for me nowadays. Now being a grown up, when I was a kid, I thought they were great. But there's also the D-pad thing, which doesn't feel as good as Nintendo's, mostly as Nintendo's D-pads. So it's tough. I think maybe they've been working for so long. I think maybe I should put these over here. Maybe this one here. Yeah. The Switch Pro controller is kind of like the Wii U Pro controller. I think they're both really comfortable. My go-to controller for Switch, no doubt. GameCube is also great. The D-pad doesn't work too well, I think. So maybe, well, the Xbox 360 one doesn't either. So, well, I can have multiple great controllers. Let's just say that these are like among the best. They don't have to be just as good as everyone, but they're at least on top level, I think. And then, the trigger buttons feel so good. Just wish Nintendo kept going with the analog shoulder buttons, but well, here we are. The NS controller works for what it is. Doesn't need many buttons. Doesn't need to be more than a rectangle. It's not very comfortable. The Super Nintendo one was actually a big upgrade in comfort, so I think I'll place it there. The N64 is a weird one. I grew up with this one, so I'm very I'm very used to it, and well, of course they took a big leap into the third dimension with this system, and the analog stick was the thing that was used most, and that's kind of why the D-pad was forgotten. It wasn't great, the D-pad either, but the stick could get broken easily, but I still think the controller feels pretty good, especially for the left hand with the joystick and the Z button underneath. I think works really well. And I did love how it came with six like primary colors. I had the red and green one when I was young, and my neighbor had the not the blue but the yellow and gray. Then another friend had the blue one, and I tried the black one at some store, like an arcade thing. I thought it was so fascinating, and I was kind of proud to have tried to play an N64 game with every official color of the controller. So that was really cool. The Dreamcast one, like looking back, I didn't play much Dreamcasts. Just like the place I played the N64 game with the black controller, I did try the Dreamcasts and things and stuff, but I don't know every technical or the technical functions of the controller. So, but it's so weird looking back now that that was part of the don't remember the I never remember the number of generations, but the Xbox, GameCube, and PlayStation 2 generation. Yet it didn't have two sticks, which is kind of weird. After even PlayStation did that with the DualShock, and it feels weird, big, chunky. I wasn't too fond of it. The little screen in the middle, I'm sure it had cool functionalities, but I never got to explore any of it. So yeah. Then we have the Wii remote. They're kind of like the Switch Joy-Cons, used for motion and can be turned sideways for as an NES controller. Uh, the nunchuck works fine. It was great for many motion control games, but kind of like with the Wii U and the Switch, if I could play a game without the motion controls, then I wouldn't bother using them. But there are games I really enjoy playing with motion controls. I think actually the Wii version might be my favorite version of Twilight Princess, one of my favorite games of all time. Um, the pointer controls worked so great there, I think. Aiming with the bow and the claw shots, it worked so well. And when it comes to Metroid Prime, I only got the trilogy. That's when I really got to try Metroid Prime, well, the Prime games. So I never got used to the GameCube control scheme. So the Wii motion controls worked so well. It felt so great. So when I got the remastered version for Nintendo Switch, I chose to play with the Joy-Cons. That was like one of the times where it wasn't necessary, but I just loved how the game felt with motion controls. So to me, there was no doubt that I would go for that. So there are some really cool things about the Wiimote, but it's barely the one I go to whenever I play a game. Can I use something else like the GameCube controller on the Wii? Then I'd use that one instead. So this is the revised Xbox controller. I don't remember much about it, but it definitely worked better than this huge one. What was it called again? It had something like a nickname. I just can't think of it right now. Either way, Xbox One actually think is a really comfortable controller. I thought it felt better than the PS4. Definitely. Maybe I think maybe I like it somewhat better than the Xbox 360 controller. But anyway, I think actually it belongs up here. Xbox have after this the Duke, was it the Duke? Maybe, not sure. After this monstrosity, it only got better. I think I haven't tried the Xbox Series controllers, not sure how different they are, but I have felt the PS5 controller, which I think is too bad isn't here. I think that's the best one yet for PlayStation. And I'm kind of sad that the Wii U Pro controller isn't here. It would definitely be up, maybe even up here, even though it did have some flaws, like most of the controllers here, like no analog triggers. Um, it's actually missing a button on top. You have L and R and only one Z button, which was kind of a pain when it comes to multiplayer games on Wii. I remember when we played games there. This D-pad sucks. This D-pad's better, so I think that works in its favor. And I actually think maybe this controller is more comfortable in many ways. So yeah, I think this is how I'll rank these controllers right now. So thank you so much for watching, and remember, this is only my opinion. I'm neither right or wrong. I'm just some guy who ranks stuff. So please leave a comment if there's something you want to tell me, feedback. I'll definitely accept it. I'll try to improve in the ways I can. So let me know if there's anything I can do. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.